Domain, codomain, and range of a function. Examine each of the given functions and their graphs, state the domain, codomain, and range of each. We could probably tell from either the graph or the stated function what each of these is. So firstly, let's look at the domain. These are the input values. So looking at the graph, what are the input values that are being used to create this graph? The domain is also explicitly written and stated in the way these functions are written. I'm highlighting it in yellow here. So in function f, for instance, we see the domain are all real numbers. In function g, it's between 0 and 2, but x doesn't include 0 but does include 2, and x are real numbers. And in function h, again, it's all real numbers. I'm going to skip to the codomain next. The codomain is the set of all possible values for this type of function. It's also explicitly written here, so I'm highlighting it in blue, the codomain for each function. In the first one, function f, this is a quadratic function. We would expect that quadratic functions, probably the outputs could be anything from plus to negative infinity. But it's explicitly stated here that all real numbers is in the codomain in the first one. In g, again, it's explicitly stated, but we might expect in a rational function also that all real numbers might be possible output values. And the next one is limited. It's stated how it's limited here. It's telling us that it's between -1 and 1, including -1 and 1. Again, x are real numbers. So they're the codomains. The range of the function are the actual output values. So even though there might be possible output values for this type of function, in this actual function, if we look at function f here, we see that it does have a minimum point. So it doesn't have any answers that are below an output of 4. So this goes between 4 and infinity. Now, if we look at the output values of function g, it seems to go up forever, but there is a limit downwards. It's certainly not going below the x-axis. But if we input the number 2, its largest input value, we see that half is actually the smallest output value. So this function seems to go from a half up to infinity. So it does include a half, and it goes up as far as infinity. And lastly, look at function h. This is a fairly limited function. Because of the input values, it seems to have a maximum and a minimum, that it's between -1 and 1. So these are the domain